Yo, what is up, guys? So, I never thought I would have said the word ice barrier in 2019, but if you were to tell me that we have a viable way to actually utilize a RAIHO ice barrier control in pendulums, I would think, dude, you're crazy. That's fake news. This card is actually really good. I'm surprised no one really thought about using him in pendulums. But anyways, it almost could be kind of like using Thunderbird, but this effect is multiple times. Every single time your opponent wants to activate an effect, they either have to discard a card or there's no effect. Now, when you combine that with no extra deck, well, your opponent is probably not going to be looking too good anyways, but it adds another layer to your opponent trying to get rid of the Sloth, because not only are they locked out and basically need to activate at least one effect to finally get rid of this, the next monster they bring out, they might not have the cards to be able to discard, otherwise they just don't get to play. I mean, that's just kind of how good decks play anyways, right? They let only one player play the game. But this is General RAIHO of the Ice Barrier. You'll see him more in a second. I'll go ahead and go over his full effect here once we go ahead and have some extra time. But what I think is really nasty with him, his effect is not once per turn. So I guess just spam the board with as many as possible. I mean, theoretically, you get triple. If they don't have 3 cards to discard, well, then they have no effects. This card is so ridiculous, though. So its effect is when an effect resolves that was activated by an effect monster that was on your opponent's side of the field, they must discard 1 card or the effect is negated, their choice. So I guess they technically get to choose, but no one ever wants to go -1 for the most part. Maybe certain archetypes could make use of this card. They're like, oh, okay, you're going to make me discard a card. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, you know, a card that might have some synergy. But this card is there to kind of stop that from really happening in the first place. And on top of that, we also have Bow of the Goddess. So if there really was something he needed to make sure was not going through. And you'll see this multiple times over here in these plays, where, like, if you combo a Bow of the Goddess plus this, you're pretty much good to go. Your opponent is not going to be playing. Since Bow of the Goddess can have 3 or 4 negates, the RAIHO basically makes it so it's almost like getting rid of one of your opponent's cards, if that makes sense, because in order for them to activate 1 card, they have to get rid of another card. But the effect that makes it so good is, again, its effect is not once per turn, which is where Thunderbird falls a little bit short. Even though there is that infinite loop technically with Thunderbird, with it's with one of the other smaller like Mist Valley cards. For the most part, people just played 1 Thunderbird, and it was just kind of like an extra card. But here we've got double, and so well, it's not going to be looking too good for our opponent. This other guy ends up getting pranked super hard. That's playing Trickstars, which is my favorite duel over here, because I love watching that deck lose. I don't know why. The deck doesn't see too much play too often anymore, since like Sky Strikers just moved on to like Sky Striker Orcas. But nonetheless, over here we got an Amorphage player. There was newer support for this archetype, but I just don't think it's enough. But anyways, some of the duels we won't see the RAIHO, but the last duel, it's quality. All right, but anyways. So once again, Sir Endymoin is here, and you can technically utilize some of the Ice Barrier support, but basically it's trying to be a Ice Barrier like negate lockdown. That's that guy just decided I'm just gonna go ahead and leave, and I don't blame him, man. This guy's playing some Monarchs over here, and we're gonna go ahead and see the Cerberus. Go ahead and go for the Jackal to bring back the Cerberus. Pretty standard bread and butter play. And the Dark Room is gonna go ahead and bring out the Gate 0. Then we're gonna go and set up with the Servant over here. And then go place that, go put another counter on that, go Lure of Darkness, activate Lure of Darkness again. He's got the Ice Barrier. There we go. Spam the board with a bunch of monsters and then lock your opponent out of the extra deck. And then anytime they want to use an effect, well, I'm sorry. This thing is going to go ahead and have 3 negates. This locks them out of extra deck. This is also a negate 1. Like, you have enough negates to the point where I'd say it's good. But I just like that you're actually trying to make it like a turbo variant of the Ice Barrier RAIHO, because he is, like I said, he's quite good. I mean, every single time they want to activate the effect, and if they can't discard a card, then they can't actually do anything. Going further into this, if you can make your opponent like go minus cards in the hand, this would be actually really good, because they just wouldn't have anything to discard. So that would be interesting. I'm wondering, could someone let me know, is there any card that makes it so like your opponent just can't discard cards, and therefore you just negate every single thing with this card? I don't know. I thought it was kind of cheesy, and again, anything with Ice Barriers automatically makes it meme. But this card's good. Like I said before, I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just Pendulum Summon the card. And then you have, every single time your opponent wants to do something, they have to go minus. And you'll see how good it is. I think he didn't know how to play against this. I wouldn't know how to do it either, though. Like, I probably would have looked at the Ice Barrier and be like, oh, this guy's he's just memes, right? He got rid of that card over there, the Electrum. as well as the Apollosa. So, I mean, that was a really good card. And then he's going to go ahead and activate the effect, but that's going to get stopped because he doesn't want to get rid of the Coral Bane, I guess. So he's going to go ahead and lose out on Eater of Millions. He doesn't know what the heck's going on. I think he didn't understand this card's effect, but I guess he just really wanted to keep this card. So we're going to see the Mighty Master, and also this card is going to be coming out, and another Servant is going to be activated. And the Medallion of the Ice Barrier actually searches out this card, so he's going to have double. Once you get double and your opponent only has, like, 0 cards in the hand, that basically locks him out of effects here. So he has this Dark Hole. He's going to go ahead and activate Instant Fusion. That's going to go ahead and get stopped by the Master of Magic. And then he can just sit there with his Hindina, but it's not going to really help him out. We're going to still have to take some damage here. So I believe how it works is it's the continuous effect doesn't get stopped, which is this part of the effect, but it doesn't really matter because he can't activate any effects. So again, you'd have to go -2, and at this point, like, you just can't because this card would negate something anyways. So you couldn't even, like, get multiple cards. So you would need a lot of follow-up plays. So he's going to go ahead and attack, and then he's going to go ahead and get some extra damage. He's going to go ahead and, activate effect, but you have no cards in your hand. You'd have to go -2 just to get that one effect. You'd have to go -2. And that's where I feel like, okay, I saw a little bit of potential with this deck. And I'm like, okay, if you turbo it out, get triple, and then give your opponent, well, instead of going for the Morphage, which obviously is a really good play, but I would love to see, like, triple of these out. Obviously, it's RNG. To get consistently, like, 1 or 2 out, it's definitely possible, as you guys saw from the duels. I mean, the card is technically searchable here with the effect of the Medallion. You have a lot of deck thinning with, of course, Pendulums. Plus, you can max out on Alert of Darkness if you wanted to, just to get as much consistency as possible. Get that young Ice Bearer, but I thought it was cool, dude. Anyways, let's go ahead and give you guys the deck profile for this deck over here. So, anyways, first off, we got 2 copies of the Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. We got 1 copy of, I don't even want to read this card's effect. By the time I read it, Yugioh 2 is going to be coming out. Anyways, next up we got Destrudo, Drake of the Dread. I think most of the stuff is pretty familiar. It just goes into Dawn Dragster, but most of the time we were just kind of making our boy over here. But then we got Supreme Gate 0. We got 2 copies of the Mystical Beast King Jackal, 1 copy of the Sloth to lock your opponent out of the extra deck. And then we got 3 copies of RAIHO to basically protect this card, if you will, because if they're activating any effect, they would have to pretty much get rid of this card ASAP. And then on top of that, they're going minus at least like 2. Again, this is not a once per turn effect, which is awesome. And then we've got 3 copies of the Chronograph Sorcerer, 2 copies of Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, and then 3 copies of the Curtain Razor, 1 copy of the Magistrate of Endymoin, 1 copy of Time Gazer Magician, and then 3 copies of Servant of Endymoin. Like, one of the best Pendulum cards like ever, absolutely insane. And then 1 Archfiend Eccentric. I really like this card. It's kind of a great utility card. In fact, I still like this card once in a while for side decking against just random stuff that locks you out of playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And then we have 2 copies of Allure of Darkness, 3 copies of Spell Power Control, and then we have 2 copies of Dragon Shrine, 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, 1 copy of Foolish Breath, triple copies of Medallion of the Ice Bearer, which again just sorts out this card. And then 2 copies of Into the Void. You know what? I don't really know Ice Barriers that well, I'll be honest. Isn't there a card where it lets you, like, discard an Ice Barrier? I guess this one lets you special summon an Ice Barrier, but it's during the end phase, which isn't that bad, considering if you happen to go, like, minus with any, like, discard outlet, and you go ahead and Pendulum Summon for this guy, right? And then you could just get this guy and bring back your RAIHO over there. That could be another option. I'm just thinking, I thought there was a card where it's like, if you have an Ice Barrier, wait a second. Okay, so this one, once per turn you can send 1 Ice Barrier from monster from your hand to the graveyard. Oh, it's to draw 1 card, okay. I was thinking you send 1 card to go ahead and add the Ice Barrier just for extra searchability so we can go ahead and try to get that guy out. But you probably have better normal summons anyways. I like how none of these pictures loaded in because no one plays Ice Bear, so the data wasn't there. Anyways, I need to give you guys the extra deck for this, so important. Cyber's Quantum Dragon, FA Dawn Dragster, and then we got Naruto, Mekk-Knight, Crusadia Ice Trap, or Avermax as it's called in the TCG, and then we got Borlode, Bolt Sword, and then the Saryuja, then Apollo set, 3 Burst, Blast Dragon, Unicorn, Phoenix, Electrum, Cerberus, Cop from Unreal, and then Elfie over here. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed seeing something cool. Again, when's the last time you guys saw Ice Barriers? So, yo, drop a like on it for Ice Barriers in 2019. It's funny, dude. I like it. I like the Pendulum Ice Barrier RAIHO control. Like I said, if you get out 2 even, like, you're pretty much good to go. I mean, 2 plus this makes it so, like, if they activate 2 effects, that's -4 cards. So, like, you don't have the outlet for that, so you just lose all the effects. It's pretty good. I think this card, is it a hidden gem? Are we going to find out if it's actually viable in some other decks? I don't know. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. And I gotta give it a shout out to Floppy Magic Carp, aka Spaghetti Rolls, because he's the one that built this deck. Because you guys know I would not want to touch Ice Bears in 2019. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell so you don't miss out on new Yu-Gi-Oh videos. And if you guys want to send me any other Ice Barriers or other crazy decks, feel free to go ahead and do so. And send in the YRP file to azneyesreplays@gmail.com. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one. And I am signing out. Peace.